Hi, my name is Ashley Share with the Share Institute, ShareLove.Fund, and we are going to continue our study of the Yoga Sutras, Book 2, Sutra number 8, 2.8. Translated in English is, aversion is that which follows identification with painful experiences. So aversion is when we repel something, we don't want it. So aversion is that which follows identification with painful experiences. So one of the things that's sort of interesting is, a lot of us might be adverse to exercise because it just seems so painful when actually it could be good for us. And some of the things that may be destructive for us in the long run, like smoking or something like that, we are drawn to it because it immediately feels pleasurable, but really it's adverse. So our body sometimes isn't the wisest. It sort of chooses short-term gain over long-term gain. But in this Yoga Sutra, it talks about aversion is what happens. We sort of repel things when we identify that thing as a painful experience. So in the words of the yoga gurus, this is how it's explained. Attachment to pleasure is another pain-bearing obstacle. We attach ourselves to pleasure because we expect happiness from it, forgetting that happiness is always in us as our true self. Like, we don't need anything to be happy except our own self. That's easy to forget. When we expect a joy from an outside thing, we become attached to those things. We find that things that make us unhappy, we create an aversion to them. And that can be an impediment to our growth. Like having an aversion to exercise can be an impediment to gaining strength and muscle mass. One we like because it seems to bring happiness, and the other we dislike because it seems to bring unhappiness. Everyone wants to be happy. Is there anything we can think of that doesn't? And that's the thing. Like, even though we might seem like this person wants to be miserable, like at the end of the day, everyone really just wants to be happy. It's just that short-term happiness doesn't equal long-term happiness, and that is a disconnect that makes decision-making hard and makes achieving happiness not so easy. It requires discipline. Even a small worm in the sun immediately rolls toward the shade. If we put a plant indoors, it will slowly turn towards the light because it too wants to be happy or survive. Happiness seems to be the basic need of everything in this world, yet rarely does anybody find it. Why? Because happiness is like the musk deer, our yoga guru tells us. The ancient scriptures have a fable about this animal, which has a scented spot above its forehead that gives off the musk fragrance. The deer runs here and there in search of the scent, not knowing that the scent comes from his own forehead. Just like that, happiness is already within us. Wherever we go, we reflect our own happiness onto people and things. When we see a smiling face and feel happy, it is because the smiling face reflects our happiness. Just as a pure, clean mirror reflects our face beautifully, certainly pure, clean faces reflect happiness. Then we say that this person gives me happiness. In their faces, our happiness reflects in a distorted way, and we say, I don't like this person, when the happiness is distorted. It's absolute nonsense No one can ever give us happiness or unhappiness, but they can reflect what we feel inside. They can reflect or distort our own inner happiness. And this is a really important takeaway, and part of anger management and part of empowerment is realizing that only one person can get you out of a rut, and only one person can ruin your life, and that is you. We are responsible for our own happiness, and it is true that the people we surround ourselves with can make our quest for happiness easier or harder. But at the end of the day, everybody has a choice, and that choice is within us. And we can draw on our own inner strength, and we can use tools like breath and exercise and concentration to focus on the positive, to build ourselves up from within and get stronger and stronger and more centered, so that less things from the outside world can derail us. And we can use that to build up our strength to feel complete enough to have compassion for ourselves and others, and to emanate happiness. Thank you for your time. Namaste.